us now, welcome to Berghs School of Communication here in Stockholm, Sweden. So staying true to our festival theme, From Chaos, we have a guest that in previous years would have never been able to join us here on stage because he's a native of Detroit, Michigan. And that's what our theme this year is all about, accepting the challenges like putting on a digital festival and turning them into opportunities like this one. So with that in mind, I'm really excited to introduce Dr. Marcus Collins. He's an absolute superstar across many industries, and he recently accepted the role of head of planning at Wieden & Kennedy in New York, and he's also a professor of marketing at Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. And so with that, he's really bridging the gap between academia and industry, which is really exciting. He's worked with iTunes and Nike and Apple, and he even did digital strategy for Beyonce. But if we're really lucky, he's going to be spinning some Mark to the C originals for us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marcus. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for having me. I love the intro. It's great.
Oh, thank you, man. Absolutely. So 9:45 on a Saturday morning. I mean, you feeling fresh? You feeling okay?
I'm stoked, man. I mean, I'd rather be in Stockholm, but what are you going to do? But yeah, this is all good. I'm really excited.
That's fair. You're not missing out. It's pretty rainy. I was going to ask, are you in Detroit right now or in New York?
I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is about 45 minutes southwest of Detroit.
Ann Arbor, super cool. And with Wieden Kennedy, have you been in their offices yet, or is that a commute that you do, or how's it been with the pandemic?
I have not. I just started just shy of 2 months ago, but I plan to make a visit to the office in June. So I'll be commuting back and forth once things get back to some normalcy.
Okay, yeah, super cool. I mean, yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm from Toronto, and talking to someone that's just a few hours away is really nice because there's not many of us here in Stockholm right now. I mean, for good reason. No one should be traveling if they don't have to, but yeah, it's really, really nice to talk to you. I don't want to take up too much of your time before jumping into it. I've seen some of your talks that you've done. Your TED Talk was really awesome and all about understanding the audiences of the networks of the audiences that people belong to. I think that's super cool, and based on the summary of what we're hearing today, I'm really excited to hear you expand on that and really talk about the evolution of how brands can tap into that by decoding decoding culture to find the meaning in those. So I'm really, really stoked to hear your presentation, and I'm going to leave it to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll jump right into it. So I know we're being very economical with time. So let me be a good steward of our time. And I want to talk to you just quickly a bit about how we make meaning. And it's the interesting part here, right? So the literature tells us that we share roughly 6 billion communicative messages a day. And that's just here in the States, by the way. And we share these messages through three specific sort of blanket modalities for communicating: through sounds we make, the gestures that we make, and the symbols that we see, right? Through sounds, gestures, and symbols. And we communicate these things. We communicate so many messages through these things. For instance, if I showed you this symbol and I asked you what it meant, you would say, oh, that means okay, right? That means a symbol of acquiesce. So if you saw these guys do it, you'd say, oh, they're agreeing with someone, right? It's a way of saying okay. However, in some places, particularly here in the States, if you see that guy do it, right, it doesn't mean okay. It actually is a symbol for white supremacy. Right? Or if you see these guys do it, that doesn't mean white supremacy at all. It actually is a symbol of membership for an organization called Kappa Alpha Psi, a fraternity here in the States. But if you're in Brazil, you see that guy do it, it means something completely different. What we're seeing here is that the same sign has different meanings. The exact same sign has all these different implicit meanings. So what? So why does that matter? I'll tell you why it matters. It matters because meaning matters. Meaning matters a whole heck of a lot. Meaning is the interpretation or translation of one's reality, right? We experience the world in what seems to be the same way, but the way we experience it is made meaning of, we made sense of it through these meaning-making frames that we have. Clifford Geertz, the anthropologist, says it this way, that meaning is the system through which we live, and by its very nature, the collective property of the group. So we can see the exact same thing, experience the exact same thing, but have a different experience because of the way we make meaning, right? One see a cow and they'll say, oh, a cow means leather. Or for others, it's a deity. For some, it's dinner. Or a rug. For some, it's decor. For others, it's a souvenir. And for others, it's a place of worship. right? Meaning matters. Now, I know this seems obvious, right? And that's the thing about obviousness. The obvious typically isn't obvious until someone points it out to you. When I think about meaning, this idea of meaning is mediated through culture. Right? Our meaning-making frames are constructed through our cultural subscription. And what is culture? Well, Emil Durkheim, one of the founding fathers of sociology, refers to culture as this idea of a symbol of systems, beliefs, and values from which groups of people and their corresponding roles and norms are established. Right? Culture are the beliefs that we hold, the artifacts that we don, the behaviors that are normative, and the language that we use. The aggregate or the alchemy of these four things establishes our cultural subscription. It is what makes culture for us, right? And you take me, for example. I'm Marcus Hay, and I have a system of beliefs and ideologies that I subscribe to. And because of these beliefs and ideologies, I wear certain things or use certain artifacts. I behave a certain way. I speak a certain way. And I express this cultural exercise through cultural product, through music, film, art, literature, dance, material like brands and branded products, right? So the way I exercise myself in the world, the artifacts that I don, the behaviors that are normative, the language that I use are informed by the beliefs that I hold. And this way of life, these artifacts, behaviors, and language are expressed through cultural product, right? Product. The products that we consume, that we use, right? Raymond Williams, one of the esteemed cultural critics, says culture is a realized signifying system. I remix that a little bit and say culture is a realized meaning-making system. It's how we make meaning of the world. It's how we translate the world that we live in. It's how we translate the experiences that we have. And these cultures that we subscribe to are demarcated or manifested by our ethnicities, sometimes our nationalities, the religions that we subscribe to, and the passion points that we invest ourselves in. So we're examining society, when we're looking at culture, we're looking at people, we're primarily observing one thing that's standing in for something else. We're observing behaviors that stand in for some belief, some ideologies. We're observing the way people behave and how they talk and what they wear, what they do, trends that they subscribe to, that they exercise. But these things are just a byproduct of something else, which means we as marketers, we have to understand meaning. We have to understand meaning. If for no other reason that we marketers, we don't make meaning. And that's a hard pill to swallow, I know. Marketers don't make meaning, people do. People make meaning. We call ourselves brand managers, we own the brand, but it's not really true actually. Right? A brand is an identifier that conjures up thoughts and feelings about a company, a product, a person, an institution, or organization. Right? Brand lives in the mind, it's a cognition and effect. Marketers don't control the mind. We don't own the mind. We own the mark of identity. We own the products that we bring to market. We own how we express those products in the world. But people negotiate meaning. People align on whether that meaning is congruent with how they want to live in their own identities. People decide whether it's acceptable. We have no authority. We have no sovereignty over our words or any other products that we put in the world. People interpret them and make meaning. And the world is pregnant with meaning, tons of meaning everywhere. Everything around us is inherently meaningless. But we, as a society, as groups of people, as cultures of consumption, have negotiated what these things mean. Which means we as marketers have to understand the cultural codes, the beliefs, the artifacts, the behaviors, the language that make up culture. And culture is the governing operating system of people. We act, we behave based upon our cultural subscription. In fact, I would argue that consumption is a cultural act. What we go, where we buy, what we wear, what we use, how we dress, all the things that we do, where we vacation, where we eat, how we sleep, All these things are informed by our cultural subscription. But the only way to understand that is to understand culture. The only way to understand culture is to understand people. And herein lies the tragedy of the age, as W.E.B. Du Bois puts it. Not that men are poor because all men know something about poverty. Not that men are wicked because who is good? Not that men are ignorant because what is truth? Nay, that men know so little of men. And that's our issue as marketers, as citizens of this world. We don't know people, which means we have to start seeing the world through the eyes of people, seeing the world through the meaning-making frames that people use to make sense of the world. I know that seems obvious, but the obvious isn't obvious until someone points it out to you, especially when it comes to people. Like the way Neil deGrasse Tyson puts it, he's an astrophysicist. He says, in science, when people enter the equation, things go nonlinear. That's why physics is easy and sociology is hard. People, we make up the world that we live in, and the world is messy. The world is chaotic. But the only way to understand it is to get close to it. I hope that's helpful. At the very least, I hope that forces you to see the world a little bit differently, because the way we see the world informs the way that we behave in the world. Thank you so much for having me. If you got questions or you want to get in touch, here's my information. Until then, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Marcus. That was really, really insightful. We really appreciate all that information. I did have a few questions. I was watching the presentation along with you, and I think that idea of those elements of brands that we use to sort of identify ourselves in the communities that we're in, and symbols that are different in different communities. I mean, what do you think that really means, especially today with so much of the social justice movements and what brands represent and how they have a say in that? How they kind of take their stance on it, and if that's something that is positive for them to do, or how they do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly what you mean. If, like, to your point, we use brands as identity projects to communicate who we are in the world based upon what the brand means in the minds of people like us, right? So we use them as a way to communicate who we are, to demarcate who we are, which says then that brands are cultural products, the way that we express the ideologies that we hold, the beliefs, the behaviors, the norms, the language, and the artifacts, right? So for a brand to not speak on, to not be engaged with the social justice world that we are engaging in, it's basically the brand saying we don't want any part to do with that.
Yeah.
So when I wear the brand and I have these beliefs about social justice, these social causes that are happening, if the brand doesn't help me communicate that, it's a missed opportunity for a brand to start. Secondly, if a brand doesn't speak on it, it's almost a complicit sign of saying, like, I don't have a dog in the fight. So now, if I'm on the oppressed side of a social justice issue, then I say, oh, then you don't represent me. So therefore, I'm not using this brand. I'd rather find a brand that's more congruent with my identity. So for brands to say, I don't want anything to do with that, I'm just a razor. I'm just a razor to shave with. Great, cool. Now I know that you are nothing but utility. That's your meaning. But when you try to be more in my life, then I say, well, what do you stand for? What are your take on these things? And if you don't have a take, then you stand for nothing. Then you are very much your utility.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, and that's a really great way, for brands to avoid that woke washing as well, because it's like, do you have a say in that conversation? And if you want to have a say in it, then it can be about sort of what is the true position that you take, and then it goes right back to what you were saying, where it's like you really have to understand those cultures and those networks to know what you're saying that in that movement is.
That's right. Absolutely.
Totally. Just going in a little bit of a different direction, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the aspect of your background that is all about sort of bridging the academic and the industry world. You talked about when you left agency, you were kind of looking for something less traditional advertising and looking for something with more meaning, and now you're at Wieden+Kennedy. So I guess my question was, what does sort of traditional advertising look like to you, and what does what you're doing now with Wieden+Kennedy that defines as something more meaningful look like to you?
That's that's a great question to ask. I think that for me, as an advertising practitioner for as long as I've been, I think I got tired of just making ads, making advertising, which I think is fine. Like, we need that for sure, to some degree, right? But I didn't think I wanted to make ads anymore. I wanted to make cultural product. That is, I wanted to make things that people use to self-identify, because those things, the cultural product, it drives commerce to start, but also it helps people. It helps people make their culture material, right? So I wanted to create that. And if it's a 60-second spot, cool. If it's a banner, cool. If it's a tweet, cool. But ultimately, I want to do things that have an impact on culture by making cultural product. And when I met the folks at Wieden Kennedy, particularly Wieden Kennedy, New York, it seemed like we saw the world very similarly. Wieden Kennedy, at its core, it is a culturally driven, it's a creatively driven cultural impact company that just so happens to make ads, right? Yeah. We, as an organization, are all about making cultural impact, right? We measure our work based upon the share of culture, right? We want things to be a part of how people talk. We want things to be about how people adorn themselves. Things become rituals in their behavior, not just a communication asset. So when I saw that the folks at Wieden saw the world similarly, I found not just a job is good, but more just a job. I found co-conspirators to help make the impact on the community and society more broadly by having an impact on culture.
Yeah, and that's really interesting as well, because it's like working with that sort of economic and cultural leverage that brands already have, and then using that to kind of use their voice for good. So that's really interesting and a great perspective. Well, that's really all the time that we have, but thank you so much for being here, Dr. Collins. We really appreciate your presence, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk again soon.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Take care. So that was Dr. Marcus Collins at Berghs School of University. Make sure you check out the hop-in rooms and check out all the student projects, and we'll see you back here shortly.
Welcome back to GOS, Verket, and Berghs School of Communication. My name is Sarah Von Reis, and together with my co-host Dimitri, we will guide you through this day. This year's festival is called From Chaos, and we're live with you until 6:30 tonight. In Hopin, you can check out our graduate students' work that they've been doing for the past 6 weeks. They worked with clients such as Klarna, TV4, ATG, and many more. Next up, it's time for some music. Swedish artist Lion Man released his debut single in 2018. His sound is described as beautiful, soulful pop where his strong vocals leads the way. Live from the Berghs Festival stage, Lion Man!
Work you out, need a lesson. I'm just guessing what you're thinking about. You're playing me so well, guess you're winning, got me spinning like a carousel. When I have you breathless, all you do is say yes. I know that it's selfish, but I like to keep you here. Sun's up, you get dressed, I lie here in protest. Do you want me? Do you want this? So what are we doing here? If you could read my mind, you'd find yourself on every single line. You'd see I treat you right. I would give you my hours, love, I got the time. Just say the word and I'm yours, but are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? You said labels make you freak out, and I agreed until I saw you meant it more than me. Oh no, I can't get no sleep, but I am faithless, I can wait until you wake up and see. When I had you breathless, all you do is say yes. I know that it's selfish, but I like to keep you here. Sun's up, you get dressed, I lie here in protest. Do you want me? Do you want this? So what are we doing here? If you could read my mind, you'd find yourself on every single line. You'd see I treat you right. I would give you my hours, love, I got the time. Just say the word and I'm yours, but are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? Just say the word and I'm yours, but are you my mind? Are you my mind? Are you my mind? Are you my mind? Tack så mycket. Jag har Jonathan där borta med mig. Och jag heter Lion Man. Och vi går vidare med nästa låt. Does she even know? Dragged me out the hallway, said you were always mine. You took my hand, running scared, all those things combined. Do you tell her you wish my lips were closer? And does she even know? Does she even know about us? 'Cause I can't tell what's real, what's hiding under, holding on until we bleed. But does she even know? Does she even know? Against the wall, softly kiss me without a light. All alone, even though people passing by. Do you tell her you wish my body makes you weaker? And does she even know? Does she even know about us? 'Cause I can't tell what's real, what's hiding under, holding on until we bleed. But does she even know? Does she even know? Does she even know? Does she even know about us? Does she even know?
Thank you so much, Lineman, for that incredible performance. I'm sure I'm not the only one with goosebumps in here. At the main stage, we're going to take a little break, but you can switch over to our parallel scene that's called The Desk. And there you can take part of the Berghs Awards. That's an award that was meant for uplifting some of the student cases here from Berghs. So check that out, and we'll see you back here soon.
Welcome back to the Berghs Festival happening right here at Berghs School of Communication in the new location in Gosverket. Hope I said that right, Stockholm, Sweden. So our next guest today is an undeniably hilarious presence on TikTok in Scandinavia, the UK, and the US, making amazingly insightful humor revolving around cultural banter. He's head of TikTok marketing at Society Icon, and we couldn't be more excited to have him here today, Liam Kalevi.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's amazing to be here. I'm so excited. What an occasion, first of all. When I when I got the invitation to be here, I heard it was an online festival, and you know, when you think of online events, the first thing that pops to mind was all the Zoom meetings that I've been in for the past year. So I imagined that I'd be sitting in front of a laptop, you know, with 100 different participants, saying, "Can I share my screen?" But I didn't know I was going to get my own stage. This is incredible. I also got my own room, which was way more than I asked for. And there was like a bowl of fruit in it, with grapes as well, which is my favorite fruit. I don't know, is it Lina? Are you the one who has told everybody? I don't know. This was amazing. So a big thanks, first of all, to everybody involved in making this event possible. Big thanks to Lina and the Berghs School of Communication for inviting me. This is going to be incredibly, incredibly fun. As I was up there enjoying my grapes, I also had the chance to speak to some of the students here. And it's soon time to graduate, and it was interesting talking to them, hearing, you know, what their plans are for the future. It also reminded me of how I was thinking when I was going to graduate. Makes me sound like a bit of an old man. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 2 years ago. But, and all the plans that I had. And I thought, you know, the name of this event is From Chaos, and I think that's a great way to describe what happened to me after I graduated. So what I want to do tonight is to share with you my story, and hopefully you can find some value in it, at least some entertainment. So, let's see if we have... For those of you who don't know, my name is Liam Kalevi Hutanen, or just Liam Kalevi if you follow me on social media. And if you do follow me on social media, you probably know me from TikTok, where I create content that is often, but not limited to, comedy sketches related to culture, norms, language, and relatable situations. And when I'm not telling jokes on the internet, I'm also a partner at Society Icon. Society Icon is an app and a platform that gives creative individuals the opportunity to work with the brands that they themselves genuinely love, where our fundamental belief is that everyone's influence counts, regardless of the size of their social following. So whether you have 100 followers, 1,000, 1 million, or 2 followers, it doesn't matter. Everybody has a voice and an influence on their peers. And where we want to be the meeting point for brands and creatives to get together and create trustworthy and effective campaigns. To put it simply, we want to give Lisa, who is 22 years old, who lives in Jönköping and works at ICA, we want to give her the opportunity to become an influencer and work with the brands that she loves. And as you might have guessed, my role and my job at Society Icon is working with TikTok, leading the development of our TikTok offering, so talking to our partners and clients and creating effective and trustworthy campaigns together with them, as well as leading the development of our TikTok communities of creators in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland. But it wasn't always like this, and in fact, if you would have told me that this is what I was going to be doing 2 years ago, I probably would have looked at you funny and asked, what the hell is TikTok? So, to understand how we ended up here today, we have to take a step back. Good evening, everybody. My name is Liam Kalevi-Hytönen, and I am from a small country town 1 hour north of Stockholm called Rimbo. I've always been fascinated, as long as I can remember, by people, the way they speak to one another, the way they interact with one another, different languages and norms and culture. And there is no shortage of interesting personalities in Rimbo, that's for sure, let alone in my own household, where I have a father who is from Finland. He's a man of few words. He keeps to himself. He's the kind of guy who uses proper punctuation when he texts with you. You know, a lot of okay, full stop. You know, doesn't waste he doesn't waste his breath. And then on the flip side, you have my mother, who is from Kenya, who is very outgoing and extroverted and loves to invite people over to dinner, to have ugali and skuma, and is just very warm and outgoing. So growing up, seeing these two people, my parents, was an early source of inspiration for me, seeing how different they were, the way they spoke, all the different languages they spoke as well, was an early source of inspiration for me. And I often took it upon myself to impersonate them and their mannerisms and the way they speak for the amusement of myself and others. Mostly for my own amusement, if I'm going to be completely honest. And then moving on, when the time came for me to study at university, I took the step to move to Stockholm. I lived in the student accommodation there, and for the first time in my life, I truly got presented with people from all over the world. I was living with exchange students from Chile, from Argentina, from India, from Jamaica, from South Korea, you name it, all over the world, and I absolutely loved it. So much so that when the time came for me to graduate, I'd made up my mind, and I decided I'm going to go out into the world, I'm going to have an international career. And that's exactly what I did. I applied for the jobs, and I managed to land my first job in Barcelona, Spain. Oh, how amazing. I was so excited. New language, new culture, new country, new food. Way better weather. It's been raining all day, so that was also a factor. I'm going to be very honest with you. I moved there, met new people, new friends, enjoyed the work. I was working with marketing. I absolutely loved it. It was magical. For about 2 months, and then the coronavirus hit Spain, and the country went into a complete lockdown. And when I say lockdown, I don't mean like Swedish. I mean, it was like a proper, good old-fashioned continental European lockdown. No nonsense. Not like whatever Sweden did, which was sort of, we have very strong recommendations. You should stay at home. I mean, also, unless you feel like it, you can maybe. But the clubs will be open, but you have to sit. Very important that you sit down, because when you stand up, that's when the corona, that's when it. But only 4 people at one table, not more. 5 is that's where we draw the line. That's någon måtta får det vara. Alltså Compare that to Spain, which was, just to give you an idea, as soon as I stepped out of my flat, you had the sirens, whoop, whoop. Spanish policeman, caballero, ¿a dónde vas? Had to speak to the policeman in broken Spanish. Yo quiero comprar comida. It's like I'm very hungry. Yeah. It was a different situation. I also noticed fairly quickly that there was somewhat of a minor cockroach infestation in my flat, so that wasn't great either. So it's safe to say that everything didn't really go according to plan. All of a sudden, I was by myself in a foreign country in my flat with nowhere to go, literally nowhere to go, and a lot of time on my hands. Luckily, though, I had heard of this new app called TikTok, so I thought, what the hell, let me download it, see what all the fuss is about. And I absolutely loved it. I thought, this is going to be my pastime, this is what I'm going to do here until the country opens up and I can actually go outside again and have my social life back. So that's what I did. I thought, what should I post? Well, let me go back to my roots, impersonating different cultures and people, making these sketches surrounding people that I had met in the past. And that's what I did. So I uploaded my first video, and then something strange happened, which was people actually started watching, which wasn't the initial plan. But it was fun. I thought, okay, other people also find this fun. I kept uploading videos. I made more and more and more sketches, increased the rate at which I uploaded every day, and then the views started increasing. And before I knew it, within 1 month, the follower count had grown by 100,000. And I thought, wow, this is absolutely insane. I mean, I still hadn't left my apartment. I hadn't had a haircut for about 2 months because that was outlawed. So I didn't look very pretty. But still, the numbers kept increasing, and I thought, wow, this is absolutely mind-boggling. It's not unlike anything I've ever experienced. And from a marketing perspective, I knew that, or it was my conviction, rather, that this is going to be the next big thing. So I boarded a flight back home to Sweden, to Stockholm, Sweden, and sat down with my good friend, Benjamin Hailemariam, who's also standing right there. He's also from Rimbo, one of the interesting personalities I was talking about earlier. He happens to be the co-founder of Society Icon. So we got talking about TikTok, seeing how could we integrate this into the platform. So we created our first TikTok community within the app and started calling our clients and, well, our clients, your clients. I wasn't a part of the company yet. But we started calling clients and trying to get our first branded campaign on TikTok, which we did within the first week, and it went very well. So we had proven our point that, yes, you can, in fact, use TikTok as an effective marketing channel. We presented this information to the CEO, Musa Hargat. He looked me dead in the face, I remember, like it was yesterday, and he said, well, do you want to work in Spain or do you want to work here in Sweden? I took a step back. I thought for a second, thought about lockdown, the cockroaches in my flat. I said, I'll work for you. Absolutely, no question. So I quit my job in Spain, and I moved back to Sweden and started leading the development of our TikTok offering. And the months that followed involved me going out, speaking to clients, and why they should use TikTok as a part of their marketing mix. It also involved answering a lot of questions, because bear in mind, this was a time when there was a lot of skepticism surrounding TikTok as a platform, a lot of concerns about brand safety and data, etc. But where the most frequently asked question was quite simply, how is it done? How is it done? How do you create effective campaigns? How do you grow on TikTok? How do you make content that people want to watch? How is it done? Now imagine I'm sitting there. It's also Zoom meetings with like 10 people. None of their cameras are on. I'm like, how's it done? I don't know, you don't leave the house for 2 months and then like make videos impersonating people. I don't know. It became very evident that I didn't have a good answer to this question. So what I did was I decided to educate myself and read probably every article you can imagine on TikTok and how to grow on TikTok, the algorithm, you name it. But what I quickly realized was there was a lot of information in these articles that was contradictory to the information that I already knew to be true, at least from my perspective. For example, it could say something like, to succeed on TikTok, it has to be, your video can't be any longer than 30 seconds, otherwise people will lose interest and nobody's going to watch. I thought, okay, one of my most popular videos is actually 4 minutes, so maybe that's just luck, whatever. Kept reading. Make sure you have great lighting and that you are well-groomed and look great. Okay. Terrible lighting. I hadn't cut my hair, as I mentioned, for about 2 months. I mean, say what you will about my physical appearance, but at the time it wasn't great. I realized that I was probably looking for information in the wrong source. So I decided instead to speak to other creators, other TikTok creators who had come up in different niches and had undergone their own journey. And what I realized after speaking to them, people who make fitness videos, people who make cooking videos, I realized that all of them, the same way I have my own story and what I'm good at and what I love, they have their own thing that they are passionate about. I remember speaking to Kevin Bung. You guys probably are familiar with him. And the way we bonded a lot over, we came up at the same time, and we bonded a lot over how we both found inspiration in our parents, and how he's used that as a large part of his inspiration for his videos, where he also makes comedy sketches, and how it started from a bet with his sister that he couldn't get 10K followers in a month. And then speaking to other people, Cafe Latten, you know, the guy who makes hamburgers, if there's one person who I can scroll through his feed for hours, it's him. I'm just hungry just thinking about it. And you know, how he was talking about his journey as he was working, but then made these videos on the side, and now it's come to the point where it's opened up a lot of doors of opportunities for them, and they have done all sorts of incredible things since then. And, you know, coming back to speaking with the students earlier on what to do, I mean, when it comes to me, it has opened doors for me to be able to, for example, work with Society and all the exciting stuff that we do there, also speaking here, which is incredibly exciting for me. It has also led to other jobs within the entertainment industry, a couple of exciting projects coming up later this year, comedy sketches, or comedy series rather. And if you want to follow my journey, then you can follow me on the social channels that you can see here. But to the Berghs students, I am very excited to see what the future holds for you, and I am looking forward to see how things don't go according to plan. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. So we're sitting here with Liam Kalevi. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. It was really amazing.
Thank you.
And we also have Julio and Andrea as well. We're gonna do like a few different things. So we'll get to. I'll introduce Julio and Andrea a little bit later. But I just wanted to cover some things about the presentation that you just gave, because it was really awesome. I think something that you covered that was really interesting was that sort of like, how do you do it? And I want to reference like one of your campaigns that I looked at recently, which was the Mcdonald hiring campaign. I thought that was really interesting because what you're doing is not making some high budget production when, you know, as advertising does, but you're actually just taking exactly the sort of like culture norms that you already attach to your humor and connecting that with the campaign. So is that something that you're doing more of, or other examples that you have of that? Like, how do you kind of come up with that kind of stuff?
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot. I think when it comes to my own work with the branded campaigns, I always try to make it as close to my original content as possible.
Yeah.
That it seems as genuine as possible.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're scrolling on TikTok, the only thing that you want to see is to be entertained or to learn something, right?
Yeah.
So I always try to keep it as close to that, and that's what I found also historically works best, and people like and engage with it. So
yeah, totally. And it's great. It's just you're keeping it really with the humor that you found success in. So I gotta ask the first. What's the first TikTok that you ever made? Is it one that people are going back to? Is it funny for you? Did you take it down? What was the first one?
The first one I think was because I was really fascinated by it. And I just looked around at all the different content, and I was like, "What is this? You use a sound or something?" So I think I used Rockstar by Post Malone.
Nice.
And then I uploaded an old video I had of me blowing like bubbles in slow motion, and I thought it looked cool, and that's what I posted. But it's not there anymore.
So you did take it down.
I did take it out.
Okay, okay, fair enough. I was like, some of this stuff looks too good to be the first content. Fair enough. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's really not about high production value, but about just doing stuff that connects. So with some of that culture stuff, do you think, you kind of make fun of some of the Scandinavian cultures, you make fun of some of the UK cultures. Do you think they take the joke well? Is there people who react negatively to the jokes? What's your reaction?
The reaction is overwhelmingly positive. That was actually something I was nervous about in the
Yeah.
beginning. That maybe people would take it the wrong way, but it's really, I'm very fortunate that the vast majority of the comments are very, very positive.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you know what? It's one of those aspects where if we can make fun of the things that we do, especially culturally, it brings us together and we kind of bond over those things as well. So we're gonna keep you up here, and I'm finally gonna introduce these guys. Sorry, that was a confusing process, but we have these two here, and so the connection that we've made here is that as you're making these videos of the sort of culture norms of Scandinavia and the UK, I think the interesting thing there is that some of them are like kind of old school, like things like the cheese slicer, and like it's kind of these like old school things. And so Andrea, who's here with us today, Andrea Kronlund, and Giulio Girardi. So basically what Andrea is doing right now, she's the co-founder and the creative director of Crawl magazine. And so this is a publication that is really aimed at changing perspectives of Black stereotypes, and is including different voices in art, culture, and fashion. And Giulio's one of the students here at Berghs. And so he's studying art direction here at Berghs right now. And the really interesting thing that we thought was a cool connection here was that the brief that they were working on together for Crawl magazine was called Typically Swedish, and the sort of aim of it was to kind of identify what's new Swedish culture, like as we see like the new generations and more cultural diversity. And so I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to pull it in. So Andrea's going to describe the brief, and before we get Giulio's perspective on it, I thought it'd be cool like if you could like really quickly, I'm going to put you on the spot. Yeah. if you had to make like a TikTok video for Andrea's brief, how you would kind of do it or how you would approach it or something like that.
If I were to make a video?
Yeah, exactly. But first we'll have to hear the brief. So, so we're going to get the brief first, and then we're going to get Giulio's actual response to it. So yeah, please take us, tell us a little bit about who you are and the brief as well.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, Andrea Kronlund. I'm a photographer artist, and I was teaching a course here on art directing photography. Yeah. And we have an online platform called Crawl Mag, and it's from a sort of Afro-Swedish perspective. Which, when we say that, people are like, Afro-Swedish, is that a thing? That kind of. So we gave a brief. I gave a brief to the class to do something to consider what is typically Swedish, and to consider it from this Afro-Swedish perspective. And I think I mentioned in the brief something about pizza salad, because that was typically Swedish, which most people are like, what? Pizza salad? But for me, that's a specifically Swedish thing, which I had to learn when I got here, because I'm from Jamaica, I grew up in New York, I got here, people are like, I order a slice of pizza. First, there's no slice, you get a whole pizza, and then they gave me the salad, and I was like, pizza salad. So I gave this brief to my students, like, go out there and, describe something that you find is typically Swedish, or that you heard was typically Swedish, and then turn it around from this perspective of Crawl magazine.
That's actually very interesting that you brought up the pizza salad example, because recently I had an interview where we were talking about Swedishness, about this similar topics, and one of the things that I said that I also got a little flack for was, I think Swedish pizza is better than Italian pizza.
Oh.
So like kebab pizza for me was like top tier pizza, If I were to make a video about like what's typically Swedish, there's been a couple. I think I probably just have to go back to scroll down memory lane and see like different funny situations that I've been in, particularly when it comes to being Swedish and being Afro-Swedish. It's hard to do on the spot right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
There's always funny comments and stuff that you can like make jokes about. So I'll probably do something like that.
Definitely, definitely. That's super cool. And the pizza is funny. As part of Julio's introduction, I left out the fact that he's actually Italian. So
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
you have a feud right here. But I mean, maybe after this, we'll have to go out, get kebab pizza, find an Italian pizza place we can compare and see what that's like. And
But
tried it?
don't worry. Yeah, I tried it.
And do you like it?
Super nice. Because it's not totally a pizza. It's something different.
That's true.
something
That's
different.
fair. We can agree on that.
That's pretty good. But yeah, so thank you so much. And actually, yeah. So now, if you'd like, we're going to talk a little bit about Julio's approach to the brief, because what they did was actually a photo story for the magazine. So can you tell us a little bit about it, Julio?
Yeah, actually it was super fun, and I have to mention that I did this project with my best colleague here in Sweden, which is Lea Kolla. And actually we have a very similar approach because we do like people. We have been here since February, and I guess we met hundreds of people already, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do with this brief was basically to know how people behave. So because we went a little bit beyond being Afro, because we wanted to tell a story, what it means to be Swedish. So we went on Tinder and found 2 models. I have to mention that because that's funny. It's really fast to find models on Tinder. And I know also a TV producer here in Sweden, and he told me that usually production here, they use Tinder. So
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
we did the right way. And we start taking pictures of these 2 guys in normal situation, like having coffee, staying at home, and matching every photo with the Swedish word. Let's start with the, I don't know, sorry for the pronunciation, but Smultonstrallet, which means the house of strawberries. Yeah.
Cool.
And we take a pictures of this guy eating a princess torta, because that's Swedish. You don't see anymore an Afro guy. You see just a guy eating princess torta.
With hidden smultronsylt.
Exactly. So, because after all, cultural stuff, I guess, also from my Italian perspective, is where you grow, and is about the environment you develop your ideas, your values. Even though in the end, we all love, have friends, fight with friends, we hate bossy people. So basically, in the end, it's just it. So
Yeah.
we wanted to show what it means to be Swedish, or we wanted to be in Sweden.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job because they produced something that I call a sort of mini manual of people who are coming to Sweden,
Yeah.
like what these things mean. And I thought it was interesting that they included blåsvädret, which is like when you end up in a sort of tricky situation.
Yeah.
You know.
And of
So I
course,
thought it was
just to
interesting.
describe the pictures, we had the 2 guys and my colleague Lea screaming at them, which is, we make a little bit fun of those Swedish people because they have hard times in handling people screaming and
Yeah.
shouting. So I thought that that's word was perfectly matching with that pics. Yeah. So.
It's kind of interesting, like, non-confrontational, but, it's that aspect. It's like we were saying, it's the culture norms that sort of like, bring people together because you can kind of make fun of certain things. And, Swedish pizza is better than Italian pizza. Like it's those things that kind of bring us together because, if you don't take yourself too seriously, then at the end of the day, we can have some fun. So yeah, okay, cool. I guess what I was gonna sort of wrap up with here was what was the reception to some of this? Like, did you have anyone contacting you from the magazine or anyone who reached out from the stories that were shared?
Yeah, I think people, especially people who are not Swedish, and
Yeah.
I think they appreciated it. I think they appreciated seeing a new perspective, because I think when we started the magazine, we kind of went from a thought everybody knew,
Yeah.
attitude. So it was interesting to sort of go back and then see, like I said, this little manual, like what is that? And also when you start to think about the other brief we had was intersectionality. What we
Yeah.
start thinking about that, it's class-wise, culture-wise,
Yeah.
age-wise, all of that. So I think we had some really good response actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that something that we're seeing more in social media as well, like in Swedish culture as well, like something that you guys are seeing movements towards?
Well, definitely, because when we started out, it was about pushing those boundaries. I mean, because the people you saw in advertising, the representation wasn't really there.
Yeah.
So I think that now there's a lot more diversity and breadth in representation, and then people are looking, like new media and different media. People are not approaching them in the same old-fashioned way. People
Yeah.
already when two people, if you have 2 followers, you can be an influencer. That's already a new approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Andrea, Julio, Liam, thank you guys so much for joining us here, and we're gonna wrap this up. But please hop into the desks now because we're gonna be doing some. We're gonna be looking at the Young Blood nominations and some of our students who did those projects. So hop over there if you have the time, and we'll be back here on the main stage with some more awesome segments. Thank you so much. So sorry for ending on that note, but we're going to bring it right back now because transitioning from Liam's really awesome keynote on sort of how he got into TikTok and what his sort of cultural norms and how he makes humor of that on TikTok to the typically Swedish brief that Julio did with Andrea, we're going to be bringing that now to like our international students who are here with us in Stockholm. I mean, we're all international students. I'm Canadian, but of course we know that Julio is Italian. And we have Zuza Kalukin and Quentin Lemaire. So Quentin is an art direction student, Zuza is a copywriter, and Julio is also an art direction student. So guys, it's shameless self-promotion time. If you guys want to talk a little bit about yourselves and what you guys do, maybe we can start with Quentin since you were already talking a little bit. Go ahead, Quentin.
Okay, so as you said, I'm a French art director student.
Yeah.
And yeah, my job is to make sure that everything looks like unique and beautiful and clear.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm a copywriter, French and Polish, and I guess my work is to find the humor where it isn't always clear.
Yeah.
And actually, I have an architecture background, but I would say that doing art direction, it means to explore more stuff for me. It's just to have a more broad vision of design in general, I would say.
Really interesting, like we were talking about, like even like what it means to be Swedish or like culture norms. It's really interesting. So how have you guys just how have you been enjoying Sweden? You guys are from Paris. Where in Italy are you from?
From Torino.
From Torino. Okay. So Paris, Torino, Stockholm. What's the experience been like for you guys?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Just amazing.
Any standout like typically Swedish moments for you guys?
First Semla was something.
Semla, first Semla. Yeah, that's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
Pendeltåg.
Pendeltåg for me. Yeah, I live in Solna, so I enjoy the commute of Stockholm, which is really nice. The boat commute also is great, something that we don't have in Paris.
That's true.
That is true. Yeah. Have you taken the boat, Julio?
Not yet, actually.
No, you have to do it before you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
absolutely.
experience.
So do you guys feel like being in Sweden, being in Stockholm as a part of this program, do you feel like that has sort of given you any new creative perspectives? How do you feel like it's affected your process?
Yeah, I do believe it. Like, I feel like compared to Paris, here in Berghs, we are really challenged to question every status quo of everything we think we know. And that's something, we really work on.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, I guess the way we approach prompts here and briefs is really different. Whereas, like for example, in France, we're asked to just think on the communication level with like prints and ads and just the basic stuff. Here, we tend to always invent new features, new products, new way to answer the problem, which is really interesting.
Yeah, totally. Julia, how about you? You have a really mixed background, so how about you?
I would say actually Berghs School is amazing for the way of teaching because it's completely different to any other countries in Europe. We don't have any hierarchy here. Everything is based on developing the skills and developing who we are.
They're going to think it's a Berghs advertisement.
Obviously.
Advertorial, maybe. So if you guys could pick sort of one project, and maybe Susanna will start with you, and then Quentin, and then Julio. If you guys could pick one project that you guys kind of feel really proud of working on since your time here, what would it be for you, Susanna?
So thinking about it, I would choose the Canada Goose project. It was quite particular because it's not maybe the project where the result was the best, but it's the one that I learned from the most. I'd say that we were not maybe at first really comfortable with the brand itself and with the brief, but we did manage to find a way to make it ours, which was basically including more CSR values to what the brief asked for.
Totally.
And that was a really fun...
Well, tell us a little about the project.
Well, okay, so the idea we came up with, well, the brief was to give visibility to the spring collection, because right now Canada Goose is mostly known for their jackets for winter wear. And, well, our team, I mean my team, we thought that the first issue that the brand had is a brand image issue, actually, because a lot of people are boycotting Canada Goose because of all the PETA controversy. So what we did is that we included a way of showcasing the Springer outerwear collection with patches. Patches that were meant to give more value to the small wins in everyday life.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, the right patch for the right path, and the right path is your path. And basically Canada Goose would encourage people to do the small things that bring them closer to their end goal.
What were some of the examples of patches?
For example, I walked 9,999 steps today.
Instead of 10,000?
Exactly. Or I went outside but got bit by a bee. Things like this, like still humorous because I guess that's kind of my thing. I always like to add a little bit of humor in everything.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, this is the project I learned from the most. I think there are some things that we could have maybe adjusted a little bit to be sure that everything was in line. But the feedback was great, and it made so much sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That's a really interesting campaign for sure. And Quentin, how about you? We do have some visuals, the project number 2, if possible. But just because now we're talking to the art directors, you know, some of your copywriting was obviously very clear, like right patch, right path, 9,999 steps. But here we go. It's really important that we have visuals for the art directors for sure. So yeah, Quentin, tell us about this project.
Okay, so again, it's about like questioning the status quo, because this project was rethinking some protein powders, because like when you think about protein powders, you picture like something really black, something really masculine, something really strong.
Yeah.
And what if it was not for masculine people? What if it was for someone that just want to do sport in the Grand Hotel of Stockholm or in the Ritz Hotel in Paris?
Yeah.
What would it be? And for me, it was something that you would love to just have in your kitchen, and a product you wouldn't hide.
Yeah.
So this is something I went for, and also I was like, I need something that people will believe in, so I went for something organic, but also something vegan, because this powder is based on seaweed.
Okay.
There's nothing animal from that. And yeah, so basically that was the point of the whole project, to have something like really totally different from what you believe it.
And it's so amazing as well, because like everyone knows the giant tubs of protein powder, and I feel like they're a symbol of just like really bad design, and like it's just like terrible fonts and like large text and stuff. So this is like a really amazing evolution to come from that. And I feel like it makes the whole process a little bit more accessible for people, like someone who doesn't identify with that. Everything about the visual is great. Did you also do the font type as well?
This is the font I picked. I didn't like draw it, but
Okay.
it's something I really wanted, like because the name is Leviathan.
Yeah.
So it's really, plus it's based on seaweed, so it's really have to deal with water and everything. So
Yeah.
I wanted to have a strong font,
Yeah.
but with like, a lot of curves inside.
It's
So
really
like for the A, for example, it's really important because it's like really wavy.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Okay, and then for the third project, Giulio, I think we have your visual as well, so we can take a look at it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your project?
Okay, I had the same brief as Kantan. So
Yeah.
basically, what I wanted to do is to play with the words, and so make the culture of being healthy less aggressive, because this is really from the Western countries. We have to be fit. You have to be powerful. You have to succeed. We have this successful culture, which is toxic.
Yeah.
So basically, I try to find something more from the East,
Yeah.
and playing with words like "you matter" instead of "be powerful" or
Yeah.
"gain weight,"
Absolutely.
"gain muscle." So, and then if you see in the label, there is the Japanese sign for, I don't know how to say in English actually, the chi, so the energy flowing in everyone. So basically I try to play a little bit more on how we feel when we are healthy.
Yeah.
And then I made a small mascot, just because it's more Japanese style, and it's fun to have
That's my favorite part.
a big beer telling you to be fit. Actually.
Totally. I mean, these are products that look like ready to go. I mean, again, I think you really identified something, more literal in the idea of like protein powder shouldn't be pushing these like, sort of aspects of toxic masculinity. It should be about self-improvement more than anything else. So that's really amazing. And so, how do you guys feel like you're going to take all this with you? I mean, these are amazing projects. You guys are about to finish the program. We're all about to finish the program. What do you feel like your next step forward is with everything that you've learned from Berghs?
I mean, first of all, include all the projects in our portfolios.
Yeah.
To showcase
Portfolios.
them. And exactly. Maybe find an internship no, for like it's like as we said, it's a completely different way to approach prompts and advertising work.
Absolutely.
Which I think is a really big plus. I mean, I know that me and Quentin were both going back to Paris and probably working in agencies in Paris, and I think that's like a real big added value
For sure.
that most students of our age don't have.
Yeah. Paris being like a hub for that, for sure. Absolutely. And Julia, how about yourself?
I will stay here in Sweden.
So you're just looking for work here in Stockholm?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, there you have it. So if you're hiring in Paris or in Stockholm, these are the people that you got to reach out to. And to look at some other student awards that are going to be happening now, you can go over to the news desk where we're going to be covering the Young Blood nominations that have happened. So definitely check that out at the news desk. And there's also going to be a great interview there as well with Jacques Soront, sorry for the name pronunciation there, from Buzzman. So definitely check that out, the news desk, and don't miss it. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next one. Welcome back. I hope everyone's been enjoying all the amazing guests that we've had today and all the amazing content. And I really hope that everyone's had a chance to check out all the student projects on Hopin in that expo part of the platform. So next up, we're going to have a student of ours right now interview 4 Berghs alumni that are currently living in New York and LA. And they're going to be discussing the experience that they have working in the industry now that they've left Berghs. And also, they're going to be discussing some of their amazing award-winning campaigns that they've worked on. So we're going to be looking forward to that right now.
So hello everybody, and thank you so much to being here for this edition of the Berghs Festival. You are all alumni students, and it's really a joy for us to welcome you. And to start, maybe you can make a small introduction about you. Eileen, we can start by you.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Elin, or Elin, and that's what I go by here. And I'm a copywriter, and I currently live and work in San Francisco, where I'm currently at an advertising agency, which I've been since January of this year. And yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Sam. I'm currently in New York with these 2 guys. We worked previously in San Francisco with Elin. That's how we met. And yeah, now we're working and living here, all of us.
Yeah, I'm Aaron. I'm a copywriter, and I work at an advertising agency called 360i here in New York. And this is my art director partner.
And my name is France, and yeah, we work together.
And so during this interview, I want to learn a little bit more about your winning contest, about the stress before, about how you react when you win it, and how it is to work in the US too. And so I'm gonna start to know what is your approach of a brief when you start to work on a team or not on a team, and like your creative process, how you manage it, and know what is your way of work.
It really depends on the situation, I think, and on the brief. Like there are some competitions, like for example the boot camp, like one club created boot camp, which you do for like 3 days, but then a lot of the bigger ones you have, you know, several months. But I think for me at least, I work very well under stress, like always. Since I was in school, like submitting essays, I would always do it like the day before. I think it also, so for me, it's just very like exciting and motivating to be working under stress. And I think it really depends as well on who you're working with. Teamwork is such a big part of it and really important. So if you can find someone that you work very well with, and that you can like bounce ideas off each other, and you find inspiring, then I think that's a great way to start.
Point of view. And maybe you have another point of view too.
Most of our award-winning submissions for various competitions we've done with each other. So and the guy Max, who's not currently here, so we worked as kind of like 2 copywriters and 2 art directors, so we could split up to like 2 different teams and like brainstorm as a collective group. And we've been friends for so long before even starting to work in advertising. So we've not had huge problems with like just seeing each other's point of views and respecting each other ideas. And yeah.
Yes, sure.
There's also this like super benefit with like when you work as a tight group of friends also, because I feel like the conceptual height is way higher when you feel confident. So like when we're sitting together, you know, like none of us, like, we're not afraid to say the stupid things, which oftentimes leads to the most fun and like reward projects. So like that's been a huge benefit for us too.
What was your feeling when you win your first contest? And did you had made a lot of contests before? So it was the contest that you were waiting for and you win it and you won it. And what was one word that you can put on this moment when you open the computer and see that you are the winner?
Yeah, I mean, I can just say that. So like we competed a lot before our first win. Like we had a lot of bad entries. Like looking back, it's like we look at them and like I get red. Like I feel like because they're so bad. But I feel like that's a super important part of the process. You know, you have to be bad to be good. But then, but I mean, the first time I remember like so clearly, I was with my partner at our internship. And we're sitting by our computers and working, and then I get like a group call from Aaron and France, and they called me, and I'm looking at Max, and I'm like, we've been waiting. It was the one show, like when we found out about the one show, and then this day, like we knew that we were supposed to find out, like if we, you know, were winners, and then I get the call from Aaron, and he calls, and it's Aaron and France, and they tell us like they're like, guys, we won, and then Max and I, like, we stand up and like we scream like in office. Yeah.
So it's the first word, the scream.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the biggest like feeling I felt was relief. I think like after all that effort and time like spent into and same for me as you said, Sam. Like I had a lot of crappy submissions before as well. And like it was just like nice to that it paid off basically all that work.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely like relief. But yeah, so my first submission, like I had submitted to other smaller competitions before and like won some smaller awards, but the biggest one, first biggest one was also for one show, Young Ones, for a New York Times brief. But yeah, it was a good feeling. It was very.
And so you all work in USA. So I want to know what is the difference between Europe and USA?
I mean, none of us have worked as like creatives in Sweden, so I don't know the difference between working at an agency in Sweden. But I mean, it's so nice to be here, and like it's such an opportunity to get your first years in with like huge agencies here in America.
I feel like in the US there's like way more hierarchy, so there's way more stakeholders along the way. So you have to, if you have an idea, you have to go through through more steps here. I feel like in the US, whereas in Sweden I feel like it's more flat, and you work more closely with your ESDs and your bosses, whereas here it's a little bit more hierarchy. But I feel like at the same time there's room here for, I don't know if that's true though, but I feel like here, like the fun thing with working in the US is like I feel like this is where the biggest ideas are made, like the biggest names. There's more money here to make like better stuff.
The guys, I've never worked with advertising in Sweden, so I can't really compare that too much. But I feel like in general, like US is very different compared to like growing up in Sweden. I've been taught to always like be humble and like like jantelagen and all of that. And here it's really like take as much space as you can. And I feel like that is very much reflected in the work culture, which is both a good and a bad thing, which maybe Sweden can like learn from as well. I don't know. At that, I would say that is the biggest like work culture difference in general. Or do you guys agree? Or am I completely wrong?
100%. But yeah, but I feel like in the US, people are also super afraid to, like in Sweden, like you're more straight to the point. Like when you feel something, you're like you have a feeling, you just say it. And if you're mad, you're mad. Or if you're, you know, but here people look so stuffy. Like you know, you can't get mad. Like if you're mad at someone here, it's like woo, like chill. And
Okay, because like you know that the theme of the festival this year is from chaos. Is this theme to know a little bit about what do you think about the COVID situation, the communication after the COVID situation, the new opportunities, maybe how we can adapt the communication world in a new world. And so did you have like maybe prediction for the future?
But like with Spotify and Google and Twitter all like signing contracts with their employees to them being able to work from anywhere they like indefinitely. Like I feel like working from home the first 3 weeks in March 2020 was so difficult. Then like people are just so quick to adapt, and now this is the new normal. And I think people will be able to work from home or work from anywhere and have these like remote offices set up for the people who really want like an office culture and see people. But I think we're gonna be working from wherever we want.
Did you have some advice for the students who are watching us during this session about how they can enter in the industry of the communication now in a world like where there is a COVID situation and where it can be like a little bit complicated to find a work or to have a different approach of the communication for now?
Like the best thing was just to do all the kinds of competitions that you can enter, and like I feel like that's where we learn the most. And like just watching like industry case studies and like work that previously been done that are great is like the best for inspiration and to take your mind and brain further in like experiencing advertising, I feel like.
I think networking is a huge part of it as well, especially now when there's maybe not a lot of jobs out there. Like, don't be afraid to, like, I was forced to just like cold email so many people, and it has paid off really well. And it might be like uncomfortable, but don't be like scared to hit as many people up that you just find inspiring, and like tell them that you find them inspiring and ask for just any advice you can. Like don't be afraid to have as many people look at your stuff. Like this sounds super cliche, but like everyone really has different opinions, and like advertising at the end of the day is so subjective. Like I've had so many different like senior creative directors like look at my work, and everyone has something different to say. No one has the same opinion. So just get as many different like takes on your work and just like opinions, and don't be afraid to network basically.
And did you have like some place where you put all your ideas, because like you are like a machine of ideas, and so is there a place where you put all your ideas in case of one day you have a blank and you come back and just read all the ideas? Oh yeah, this one was good that I had 2 years before.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a Google Doc where we just
Okay.
like all ideas that we might have presented to client or creative directors that we love, we just put them all in there. So
So maybe do you have a last word to tell us for the end of the interview?
I mean, network, do the competitions, and like, yeah, like have fun. It sounds very cliche, but have fun, like, because it's advertising. It's not, yeah, it's advertising. Have fun.
Yeah, sure.
I'd say, don't be afraid to be like super, super bad now in the
Yeah.
beginning. And,
Like,
you know,
yeah, don't be afraid to have stupid ideas.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And maybe Fawn, you want to share one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the same. Like competitions for us has been like the key to where we are now. Like every time we talk with like recruiters, they're like impressed by like the different awards. They don't really care about the work. It's just like it's just more like, yeah, it's like a proof to like that you like succeeded in some way and like done a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And so, really, I wanted to tell you both of for really thank you to have participated to this interview for this Berghs Festival. It was really a pleasure to welcome you. And so, if people want to join you, they can link with you on LinkedIn. So maybe each you can say your name so they can link with you if you are agree.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's gonna get this, but yeah, my name is Sam, and then Sail High-End. So yeah, Salehian.
Okay, thank you.
Aaron Ramstead.
And then France Alberg.
Yeah, and my name is Elin Lindeberg.
Okay, so thank you so much, and really, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Hi and welcome back. I've met with artist, songwriter, and creator OG Bella. Originally from Gothenburg, her sound stems from punk, hardcore, and bands such as Bon Iver, and it comes together as dark, poetic, and conceptual hip-hop. OG Bella released her debut EP in 2020 and was followed up by the single Ben Djupt this spring. We had the great pleasure of listening to her music and talk about creativity and chaos. From the Berghs Festival stage, I give you OG Bella.
Stämningsmord som velvet tills alltihopa vänner. Och jag vet säkert lika bra och gissar jag, men likväl ont och andra kände likadant. Kände likadant, skapa nya minnen nu, en nya mot min tinning nu. Kände likadant, skapa nya minnen nu, en nya mot min tinning nu. Sörja tenderar till att sällan delas lika. Vem är där vid din sida? Skott i pannan på honom, grav honom under ytan. En isbit i min skiva. Minns mina fingertoppar runt om hennes midja. Vi stoppar tankar om hon i hennes liv. Vajs med minnen är motherfuckers, ja. Tycks aldrig svika.
Berghs. Tack för att vi får vara här. Vi har kul. Hoppas att ni har kul. Jag heter OG Bella. Det här är Andy Boy. OG Bella, la la la. Andy Boy, oj, 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 oj. Yeah. Vi verkar aldrig vara över, men aldrig heller överens. Vi vet inte hur man älskar utan att förstöra det. Se mig i ögonen, säg att vi inte kommer dö igen. Säg det som du menar det, för jag kan inte vela mer. En tystnadsöron bedövande, lyssna på ljudet av risslar som dödade. Jag behöver att du behöver mig. Kan du säga det, mami vill höra det. Och vi var båda överens, aldrig att vi tar en handen som föder en. Jag har gjort det där förr, jag tänker inte dö igen. Vi verkar aldrig vara över, men aldrig heller överens. Vi vet inte hur man älskar utan att förstöra det. Se mig i ögonen, säg att vi inte kommer dö igen. Säg det som du menade, ja. För jag kan inte vela mer, nah. Har ditt finger på mitt trigger för en vita lugn från att säga faktiskt. Känns som att stå mitten av en krig när man egentligen är en pacifist. Ett växtvärd socialt där vi har fattat faktumet blir faktiskt. Se mig, jag kan ha mig en hand, blir man fuck eller min lakrits. Misstag med grova konsekvenser kan ändå inte låta bli, kanske jag är sadist. Och det är svårt att tala från hjärtat när man lärt sig välja åken taktiskt. Du är besviken, jag kan se det i dina ögon, men baby jag har sagt mitt. Se mig, jag kan ha mig en hand, blir man fuck eller min lakrits. Stanna, lämna mig i fred. Lämna mig, snälla. Stanna, snälla. Länge lever Palestina.
Det var alltså OG Bella live från Berghs Festival from Chaos. Välkomna hit, Andy Boy och OG Bella.
Tack.
Artist, låtskrivare och kreatör, ursprungligen från Göteborg. Och ditt sound har beskrivits som mörk, poetisk och konceptuell hiphop. Något som vi precis har fått lyssna till. Vill du berätta hur det här soundet har växt fram?
Ja. Jag vet faktiskt inte, helt ärligt, hur det har växt fram. Vi leker mest i studion med det vi influeras av och tolkar det på vårt sätt. Vi kommer ju bägge från så många olika genrer. Så vi tar väl liksom det bästa vi vet från de delarna och smashar ihop det, I guess.
Hur ser ert samarbete ut när ni skapar?
Ja, grejen är mycket, vi ju träffas på en skola där man får träna på det kreativt skrivande. Och det är det alltid vi har haft som grundtanke, det är där vi hittar varandra i början. Till exempel att video med hur kan vi ta hiphop och göra något nytt, kan vi blanda det med någon annan influens. Alltid hittar ständigt, varje gång vi kör live så testar vi alltid köra nya saker i omlåtarna för ständigt men leka fram och komma på bara nya vägar till skapande. Så vi är där någonstans. Det känns som grundpelaren i vårt skapande.
Verkligen. Vi har ju ofta en referenslåt som vi tar med i studion. Men det blir alltid, liksom, när den möter våra uttryck, så blir det alltid att det blir något annat ändå. Liksom. Kanske typ att vi kanske behöll baselinen typ, men att det ändå blir något helt annat resultat i slutändan. Det är väl typ oftast så
Ja,
Jag
men
brukar oftast
precis.
komma med en låt.
Det är
Typ, och
typ,
bara,
hur kan vi ta den akustiska fina låten och göra en hiphop?
göra en
Kan vi göra lite HC i den, få lite disco metal i det så här.
Exakt.
Så leker vi runt i studion och så blir det lite resultat av så vi tar och använder.
Och Bella, du har ju en bakgrund inom spoken word. Hur färgar det din musik, tror du?
Jag tror inte det gör det faktiskt alls. Eller jag tycker när jag skriver poesi och när jag skriver musik så är det är helt olika processer. När jag skriver dikter så vill jag gärna att det är avancerat och pretentiöst. Men i musik, jag försöker verkligen hålla det så avskalat som möjligt i mitt skrivande. Jag försöker beskriva stora ting med små ord. Och i poesin dyker jag in i detaljerna. Och försöker beskriva det med så avancerat språk som möjligt. Typ musiken i helhet och poesi är typ detaljerna. I guess.
Temat i år är ju From Chaos, med liksom en referens till den tiden som vi lever i just nu. Hur tycker ni att det senaste året har färgat ert skapande?
Gud.
Om det har det, det behöver inte ha gjort.
Jag vet inte fan om... Jag har typ inte ett bra svar på den frågan. Det känns som att jag är i det just nu, så att det är svårt att veta om det har färgat. Det är svårt att veta när man går igenom det. Jag behöver typ distans för att se tillbaks och förstå om det har färgat. Jag tycker typ inte att du har gjort det. Jag vet inte vad du känner.
Jag känner tvärtom. Det har färgat mitt skapande så mycket. Alltså förra året, det var chaos på min front bara. Och det jag känner när vi skriver allting, jag vet inte. Jag har fått lite, vad ska man säga, så här, ny syn på livet efter förra året. Så jag tänker helt annorlunda med skapande och allting. Så jag skulle säga att det verkligen färgat jättemycket hos mig i alla fall. Jag tror jag färgar hos dig också.
Säkert.
På ett mer personligt plan, där kan ni relatera till det här temat från kaos?
Absolut.
Ja, men definitivt. Absolut. Det är... Alltså kaos är ju någonting oförutsägbart. Och det är ju jag. Nej, men ja, absolut. Alltså att kaos för mig är att hantering av saker utan referens eller beredskap. Det känns som att basically hela livet är så egentligen liksom. Bara att det komprimerades på ett helt annat sätt förra året. Men ja, jag kan relatera till det. Kan du det, Andy?
Inte du och jag kaos.
Jo,
det är lite hela vår grej, känns det som.
Ändå.
Om vi tänker framåt då, har ni några förhoppningar eller hur ser framtiden ut för er och musiken?
Jag flyttar ju hit nu från Malmö.
Just det.
Vi bor i Malmö båda två. Och för mig, ja, det är ju lite ett heartbreak att vi är ju typ slut nu. Nej, men vi kommer att ha ett distansförhållande och fortsätta göra musik ihop. Jag tycker det ska bli skitkul att utforska musikscenen här, liksom. Jobba med nytt folk och se vad det är med mitt sound. Men Andy är min core, liksom. Så att jag kommer alltid återvända till att göra musik med dig.
Fint, lite kärlek här från scenen. Om man vill hitta OG Bella, vart ska man leta då?
Instagram.
Vad heter du där?
OG____Bella.
Fantastiskt. Och kanske Spotify?
Ja, exakt. Där med. Om man vill lyssna på mig Spotify, om man vill titta på mig Instagram.
All right. Tusen tack för ett magiskt och superstarkt framträdande. Det var allt från OG Bella och Andy Boy. Tack så mycket. Welcome back to GOS, Verket and Berghs Festival from Chaos. Our final guests for today are Hego Reni and Peter Volpert, and they're bringing us a beautiful performance art piece called Talking Souls.
Thank you so much, Heigo and Peter, for such an amazing performance. That was our last and final session of this year's edition of the Berghs Festival from Chaos.
For 2 days, we've been broadcasting live here from Gasverket in Stockholm. We have had artists such as Abba August, Vrees, OG Bella, Sana Say, and Lion Man.
And we've met internet sensations like Dag Tolstoy and Liam Kelavi. And we've done yoga, and we've done workshops, and we listened to talks, and so much more. So what has been your favorite this year?
I would have to say OG Bella's live performance. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was really incredible, for sure. And for me, it was Marcus Collins, for sure. I mean, I'm a bit of a strategy nerd, and I thought he was just such an amazing guy to talk to. So really incredible.
Definitely. It's been such a pleasure to have you all tuning in here and sharing these perspectives from all over the world. We had people calling in all the way from New York and Paris right here to our stage in Stockholm. Don't forget to check out the hop-in rooms and the student cases in case you haven't, because they're open until 7 o'clock.
And in case you missed anything, make sure you check out the Berghs website and the YouTube page where all of these will be posted afterwards, and you can check it out. My name is Dimitri Canaris.
I'm Sarah Von Reis, and here at Berghs, we thank you so much for tuning in with us.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Bye.